The United Kingdom, a proud warrior nation. Welsh, Scots, Irish, and English. They fight under the same flag, with the same bulldog spirit. And this dog likes to bite.
They are very well trained, and they are a very professional outfit.
Within their rank is a special forces unit unlike any other, the Royal Marines.
Small groups of highly trained men, daggers between the teeth.
Prepare to get locked and loaded as we go back through generations of technology to trace the evolution of Britain's lean, green fighting machine, the Royal Marines. It's time to go ballistic. The Royal Marines are a hard, no-nonsense fighting machine. From raiding in the Age of Sail to outfoxing the Argentinians in the Falklands and going toe-to-toe with the Taliban in Afghanistan, the Royal Marine Commandos will mix it up anywhere and everywhere. To defeat and destroy their enemies, they use the SA-80 assault rifle. For amphibious and dry landings, they use the all-terrain Viking. And if they have to get in close, Marines have carried the legendary Fairbairn Sykes fighting knife. Their motto is, per mare, per terra, by sea, by land. No obstacle is big enough or unassailable. Now, Weaponology will unlock their family tree, going back through generations of technology to reveal how weapons, transport, and tactics have evolved the Royal Marines as the spearhead of British Forces Special Units. The Royal Marines' origins lay as far back as the Age of Sail, long before American Marines were on the high seas. In the 17th century, they acted as on-ship security. It was a dirty job that demanded excellent close combat skills. Fast forward 300 years, World War II, and those skills would help redefine the Royal Marines. British forces are on the brink of being wiped out. German troops have smashed through Holland, Belgium, and France. Now only the English Channel stands between Hitler and domination of Europe.
By the middle of 1940, the British Army had its arse kicked in Northern Europe. We'd been kicked out of France. We'd had to be evacuated from Dunkirk. It was quite clear to the government at the time, led by Winston Churchill, that we needed to go and win somewhere, win something.
British Prime Minister Winston Churchill had to move fast and decisively. He put his weight behind the formation of an elite unit, a unit that would specialize in unconventional warfare.
Churchill was always very keen on creating commandos. These were battalion-size units which could be landed on the coast of Europe and could do damage.
Now all Churchill needed was a group of men who weren't afraid to get their feet wet and their daggers bloody. The Royal Marines fitted the bill.
He came up with this idea of the Royal Marines that could go in, butcher and bolt. Basically amphibious warfare, cause tremendous damage, get away, and then regroup and go back again.
Royal Marine Commandos would be tasked with some of the most daring operations of World War II. Sicily, Normandy, the Rhine, and D-Day.
Along the invasion beaches, there were a variety of forts occupied by the Germans which needed to be knocked out so that the main landing force could get ashore without too many casualties.
These raiders cut their way to the enemy's heart with the precision, stealth, and swiftness of a surgeon's scalpel.
We're used to operating far away, on our own, in small groups. Our ethos, commando spirit, well, it was a word that arose out of the Boer War from an Afrikaans word, commando, meaning raiders, and that's precisely what we like to do. Small groups of highly trained men, daggers between the teeth.
The glint of the moonlight on steel, the stifled death rattle of the German sentry. This would become the Commandos' calling card.
One of the aspects of commando fighting was the need to get in very close and to kill sentries. Not by shooting them, because that would be noisy, but with a knife.
The commando knife of choice was 7 inches long and thin enough to slide between an enemy's ribs. Known as the Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife, it was a natural-born killer.
What I have here is a World War II issue British Army commando knife, correctly termed the Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife. It was extremely popular with the commandos and designed purely for one thing, and that was for dispatching the enemy. It's not a utility knife, it's a fighting knife.
In 1907, 2 Brits, William Fairbairn and Eric Sykes, were serving on the bloody streets of Shanghai with their municipal police force. Fairbairn and Sykes were fascinated by the street fighting they witnessed and how, with the correct training and tools, an enemy could be swiftly and silently extinguished. They experimented with developing a knife for the job. Weapons trainer Ken Hackerthorne is a knife specialist and rates the Fairbairn-Sykes as a cut above the rest.
If somebody threw a punch at you or was trying to grab you, you could cut and cause a loss of blood. That's why it's sharpened on both edges all the way back the hilt. So no matter where you made contact, you could cut and cause arterial bleeding. Well, if I actually want to try to sticking, remember, I'm better off with the flat grip, because like so, expecting the knife to go through the ribs could be difficult. So I would hold it like so, but what I want to do is I want to come in low and come up under the rib cage. I want to go up in, below the ribs, up in. Remember, when I bring it up, I want to work it. I want to twist it to come out, so I'm doing as much cutting as possible. The other system is, if I'm coming up, say for example, a sentry, I could come up with a couple techniques. One is the fencing grip, where I come up and I trap him like so and use this thing to cut across. Or I can hold it as a puncher grip and I can grab him like so and try to drive the knife right down through here. So I want to do as much damage as I can to the airway, in, twist and work it, and then out.
The design of the knife was solely to kill. Not only was it thin enough to go through the ribs, it also had to be long enough to puncture vital organs.
One of the things that the Allies learned, that if, for example, if a German soldier wearing a heavy wool winter coat, they needed a long blade to get through the garments and reach deep enough to get the vital zone. A short blade simply was not effective. Hence, the reason they chose a long blade to get through the garments in deep enough, cause enough laceration to cause a loss of blood pressure and rapid incapacitation of the enemy. Very effective tool.
The Fairbairn-Sykes was the perfect tool for stealth operations, but it couldn't take out multiple enemies. For that kind of work, the Royal Marine Commandos relied upon another iconic weapon, the Sten gun. Over 4 million Stens were made in the 1940s, making it one of the most recognizable weapons of World War II. Cheap and easy to manufacture, the Mark III could be produced in 5 hours and contained as little as 47 parts. This minimalist design meant it could fire without any lubrication, useful in desert environments where oil attracts dust. But the Sten also had some serious drawbacks. Its magazine was prone to jamming, and its mechanism was loud and clunky. Allied soldiers called it the stench gun and the plumber's nightmare.
The thing about the Sten gun is it fires from what is known as an open bolt. And when you pull the trigger on a Sten gun, that bolt slams into the back of the cartridge. And there is a big sound with that. And then blowback occurs, and you blow the bolt back. So when you're firing a Sten, you're making a hell of a racket.